The night was supposed to be ordinary, just another weekend in the life of Charlamagne, but what unfolded left fans across the nation in shock. Rumors had been swirling for weeks about tensions behind the scenes, whispers of betrayal, of friendships that were never as solid as they seemed. And then it happened. A single phone call, a leaked message, and suddenly the world saw a side of Charlamagne that nobody expected. Emotions ran high, tempers flared, and those closest to him were caught in a whirlwind of accusations, secrets, and heartbreak. The family was left divided, friends turned on one another, and fans couldn't believe what they were witnessing. In this story, nothing is as it seems. There are hidden alliances, secret betrayals, and shocking confessions that threaten to change everything you thought you knew about him. As the drama unfolds, you'll hear conversations that were never meant to be public, see the reactions of people who loved him the most, and watch as the consequences of one fateful night ripple through every aspect of his life. Prepare yourself for heartbreak, suspense, and revelations that will leave you questioning loyalties and motives. The tragedy of Charlamagne is not just about what happened, it's about how one decision can ignite a chain reaction of chaos, betrayal, and unthinkable consequences. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the world waits, holding its breath, for what comes next. This is a story of fame, fortune, and the dark, hidden struggles that no one could have seen coming. Are you ready to uncover the secrets that changed everything? The tension in the room was almost palpable as Charlamagne sat in silence, staring at the floor while everyone around him exchanged glances filled with suspicion and fear. It all began weeks ago, with whispers and murmurs that something was off, that the charismatic figure everyone knew so well was hiding a secret, and no one could put their finger on it. Emotions ran high as friends who had once been loyal found themselves questioning every word, every gesture, every smile. "Why didn't you tell me?" someone finally demanded, their voice shaking with a mix of anger and betrayal. Charlamagne lifted his eyes, but the hurt reflected back at them was undeniable. The room erupted, voices overlapping, accusations flying like sparks in a wildfire. Some said he had been manipulated, others claimed he had made choices that would haunt him forever. The family was left divided, siblings whispering behind closed doors, parents caught between disbelief and despair, unable to reconcile the person they loved with the secrets now exposed. Fans online were furious, sending messages, creating threads, speculating endlessly. Social media lit up with theories, and every new revelation seemed to spark more questions than answers. It wasn't just about the mistakes, it was about the trust that had been broken, the loyalty shattered, and the sense that nothing would ever be the same again. The first twist came unexpectedly, a friend stepping forward with a message that contradicted everything Charlamagne had said, revealing details about financial betrayals, hidden meetings, and alliances that no one had suspected. "I can't believe you'd do this to us," another voice cried, tears streaming down their face. Each revelation cut deeper than the last, leaving wounds that no apology could immediately heal. Yet amid the chaos, there were those who still clung to hope, insisting that there was more to the story, that Charlamagne's heart was in the right place, and that mistakes didn't erase the years of loyalty and love. The night wore on, and tempers flared further, doors slammed, and windows rattled as shouting echoed through the house. In the midst of this storm, Charlamagne remained mostly quiet, occasionally speaking up to defend himself, to explain the motives behind his choices, yet every explanation seemed only to add fuel to the fire. "You think this is easy for me?" he finally shouted, his voice breaking, the tension in the room reaching a fever pitch. Some cried, some left the room in frustration, and some sat frozen, unsure whether to confront the painful truth or retreat from it. Outside, fans speculated endlessly, dissecting every post, every comment, every subtle hint of scandal, creating a narrative more sensational than anyone could have imagined. And then came the message that changed everything. It wasn't public, it wasn't meant to be seen by anyone other than those directly involved, yet somehow it leaked. Suddenly, the world had access to private conversations, moments that were supposed to remain hidden, and the implications were devastating. Accusations of betrayal multiplied, allies turned into enemies overnight, and Charlamagne's closest confidants began to question everything they thought they knew. The chaos reached its peak when an unexpected voice from the past re-entered the scene, someone who had been absent for years but whose presence carried the weight of old grudges and unresolved conflicts. The tension escalated, confrontations became personal, and old wounds were torn open, leaving everyone in the room reeling. The air was thick with anticipation, everyone wondering who would break first, who would apologize, who would walk away, and who would fight to reclaim what was lost. Secrets surfaced one after another, like dominoes falling in a chain reaction, revealing hidden alliances, secret financial dealings, and personal betrayals that no one had seen coming. Charlamagne found himself defending choices that were misinterpreted, attempting to mend relationships while navigating a labyrinth of lies and half-truths. In one shocking moment, a family member revealed a revelation so unexpected that it left the room in stunned silence, jaws dropping and eyes widening in disbelief. Emotions ran high as explanations tumbled over each other, some tears, some anger, some frustration. The room felt smaller, suffocating under the weight of disappointment, regret, and the ever-present tension of what might happen next. Fans online couldn't get enough, speculating on what had led to this breaking point, dissecting every video, every interview, every post for hidden clues. As the night deepened, Charlamagne attempted to reach out to those who had turned against him, trying to explain, to clarify, to bring back a sense of unity, but the divide seemed insurmountable. Voices clashed again, tempers flared, and for a brief moment, it seemed as though the entire circle of friends and family might collapse under the pressure. Then, unexpectedly, a whisper of hope emerged. A conversation started between two of the most estranged members, an attempt to bridge the gap, to find common ground amidst the chaos. Emotions ran high, tears flowed freely, apologies were offered, and while the air remained tense, there was a glimmer of reconciliation. Yet, just as quickly, a new accusation arose, threatening to undo the fragile progress, leaving Charlamagne in the eye of the storm, forced to navigate an impossible maze of loyalty, betrayal, love, and resentment. The night dragged on, each hour bringing new revelations, unexpected confessions, and shocking declarations. The family was left divided, friendships tested beyond repair, and the fanbase was caught in a frenzy, dissecting every detail, wondering what could possibly happen next. Through it all, Charlamagne remained at the center, a figure of both admiration and scrutiny, forced to confront the consequences of choices that no one could have predicted, navigating a web of deceit, loyalty, and emotional turmoil that seemed to have no end. Fans were shocked, emotions ran high, and the world watched as a saga of personal tragedy and dramatic revelations unfolded before their eyes, leaving questions unanswered and hearts heavy with suspense. The night ended, but the ripples of what had occurred would continue to spread, shaping relationships, loyalties, and the public perception of Charlamagne in ways no one could yet fully understand. Every secret revealed had its cost, every word spoken carried weight, and the story was only beginning to unravel into even deeper layers of conflict and drama. The morning after the explosive night brought no relief. The tension that had built up lingered like a heavy fog, suffocating everyone in Charlamagne's inner circle. Text messages buzzed non-stop, voicemails piled up, and social media posts hinted at storms brewing behind closed doors. Some friends were already plotting their next moves, wary of who they could trust, while others retreated, unwilling to face the aftermath of the night's revelations. Charlamagne himself felt the weight of it all pressing down, each decision from the past, each choice he had made, now amplified, dissected, and twisted in ways he had never imagined. He tried to reach out to the family members who had distanced themselves, hoping to salvage what remained of his relationships, but every attempt seemed to trigger more tension rather than healing. "You don't understand," he pleaded in one of the countless phone calls, his voice strained. "I never meant for any of this to happen." On the other end, the responses ranged from icy silence to verbal lashings, a reflection of the anger and disappointment that had settled like a shadow over everyone. Meanwhile, the media caught wind of the leaks and quickly sensationalized every fragment of information, spinning it into headlines that painted Charlamagne as both villain and victim. Fans were divided. Some defended him fiercely, vowing loyalty, while others felt betrayed, their admiration turning to anger. The emotional rollercoaster intensified when an old friend, someone Charlamagne had trusted implicitly, made a public declaration that added fuel to the fire. Accusations of dishonesty, manipulation, and secrecy poured out like a torrent, leaving everyone in disbelief. Even those who had tried to stay neutral were drawn into the drama, caught between loyalty and outrage. The family, already fractured, faced further turmoil as siblings confronted one another over decisions made behind closed doors. Tears were shed, voices raised, and the air was thick with tension, every argument echoing the pain and confusion that had grown from months of hidden conflicts. Charlamagne attempted to mediate, stepping between parties, trying to calm the storm, but the emotional stakes were so high that every word he spoke seemed to ignite more fire. "Stop it, please," he implored, voice breaking. "We can't let this destroy us completely." Yet, for every attempt at peace, a new revelation surfaced, old grievances resurfacing, alliances questioned, and secrets long buried coming to light. In one dramatic twist, a family member revealed an unexpected betrayal involving finances, shaking the trust of everyone involved. Eyes widened, accusations flew, and the emotional fallout was immediate. Friends took sides, loyalties shifted, and Charlamagne found himself navigating a minefield of emotions, each step fraught with risk. The fanbase watched in fascination, dissecting every detail, crafting narratives, and debating endlessly about who was right and who had crossed the line. Meanwhile, Charlamagne faced another blow when a close confidant, previously thought loyal, publicly distanced themselves, hinting at long-held grudges and secret knowledge that no one outside the circle could have guessed. The shock was palpable, the betrayal cutting deeper than any argument, leaving him momentarily speechless. As tension simmered, a confrontation erupted during a private family gathering, emotions spilling over with intensity that left everyone stunned. Voices overlapped, accusations sharpened, and in the chaos, old wounds reopened, leaving scars that would take far longer to heal than anyone anticipated. Yet, in the midst of all this turmoil, there were glimmers of hope, moments of vulnerability where apologies were whispered, where hands reached out for reconciliation, and where tears hinted at the possibility of forgiveness. Charlamagne found himself clinging to these fleeting moments, aware that despite the chaos, there was still a chance to rebuild, to mend, and to reclaim what had been lost. Just when it seemed that the storm might subside, a shocking revelation hit, a message, long concealed, revealing a secret alliance that no one had suspected. The emotional impact was immediate, reigniting conflicts that many had hoped were behind them. Old friends became adversaries, alliances fractured further, and Charlamagne was once again thrust into the center of a whirlwind of tension, loyalty tests, and unexpected betrayals. The intensity escalated when another family member disclosed an incident from the past that cast Charlemagne's decisions in a completely new light. The room grew silent, everyone processing the weight of the revelation, emotions swinging between disbelief, anger, and sorrow. The drama was relentless, the twists unending, and the consequences of actions, both past and present, loomed large over every interaction. Outside, fans continued to speculate, creating theories and dissecting every available detail, amplifying the pressure on Charlamagne and those around him. He struggled to maintain control, to find clarity amid the chaos, but every attempt seemed only to pull him deeper into the storm. The night ended without resolution, leaving unresolved tensions and unanswered questions hanging in the air, setting the stage for yet another chapter in a story that seemed far from over. Each confrontation, each confession, each whispered accusation had compounded the drama, making it clear that the tragic fate of Charlamagne was still unfolding, and the world was watching, captivated, shocked, and waiting for what would happen next. The intensity, the betrayal, and the emotional turbulence promised that the saga was only growing darker, more complex, and more gripping with every passing moment. Just when it seemed the chaos might settle, a new storm hit Charlemagne's life with full force. An anonymous source leaked a series of private conversations, revealing details that no one expected, including secret meetings, hidden alliances, and financial dealings that cast shadows over every relationship he had trusted. The room erupted once again as friends and family absorbed the information, their faces a mixture of disbelief, hurt, and rage. "How could you hide this from us?" a sibling shouted, tears welling in their eyes, their voice cracking under the weight of betrayal. Charlamagne tried to explain, his words tumbling out in a desperate attempt to regain some semblance of control. "I didn't want anyone to get hurt," he pleaded, "I was trying to protect everyone, even myself." But the explanations only seemed to ignite the fire further. Friends took sides, long-standing alliances crumbled, and the once tight-knit circle fractured under the pressure. As the drama escalated, Charlamagne found himself facing accusations that cut deeper than any he had ever experienced. Friends he had known for years confronted him with stories they had never shared, revealing disappointments and grievances that had been simmering beneath the surface. Each revelation felt like a dagger, and every attempt at reconciliation seemed to fail. Emotions ran high, tempers flared, and arguments spiraled into shouting matches that left everyone exhausted and emotionally raw. Fans online were in frenzy, dissecting every leak, speculating on motives, and debating loyalties, turning Charlemagne's personal turmoil into a public spectacle. Then came an unexpected twist. A family member, previously quiet and seemingly neutral, stepped forward with shocking claims that cast the entire narrative in a new light. The room went silent as everyone processed the bombshell, realizing that the story was far more complicated than they had imagined. Charlemagne's attempts to mediate were met with skepticism, and even his most loyal supporters began questioning their allegiance. The air was thick with tension as old grievances resurfaced, long-held secrets came to light, and the intricate web of relationships threatened to unravel completely. Amidst the chaos, Charlamagne faced another betrayal. Someone he had considered a confidant publicly questioned his integrity, hinting at motives and decisions that contradicted everything he had publicly stated. The shock was immediate, leaving Charlamagne momentarily speechless, the weight of betrayal pressing down with crushing intensity. Yet even in this maelstrom, there were brief moments of vulnerability, where Charlemagne's remorse and sincerity shone through, moments that reminded everyone of the person they had once trusted. But these glimpses of hope were fragile, easily overshadowed by the relentless succession of revelations, confrontations, and accusations that continued to unfold. As tensions peaked, a dramatic confrontation erupted at a gathering meant to reconcile the fractured family. Voices rose, tears flowed, and the room became a battleground of emotions, with Charlamagne at the center, desperately trying to navigate the storm. Accusations flew, tempers flared, and the air was thick with a mix of anger, sorrow, and disbelief. Old conflicts resurfaced, new betrayals were revealed, and the fragile hope for reconciliation seemed to slip further away. Outside, fans watched, captivated and horrified, as the saga continued to unfold, dissecting every detail, crafting narratives, and speculating endlessly about what might come next. Just when it seemed that the night's drama had reached its peak, another revelation shook the room. A long-concealed truth that no one had suspected, altering the perception of Charlamagne and the events that had led to this chaos. The emotional impact was immediate, reigniting old arguments and deepening divides, forcing everyone to confront the reality that nothing was as simple as it had seemed. In the aftermath, Charlamagne struggled to find footing, attempting to rebuild trust, mend relationships, and clarify intentions, yet the web of conflict, misunderstanding, and betrayal made every step precarious. Every conversation, every gesture, and every word spoken carried enormous weight, each capable of reigniting tensions that had yet to fully settle. As the hours passed, the intensity did not wane. Instead, it grew, each revelation and confession layering upon the previous, creating an intricate tapestry of drama, heartbreak, and suspense. The tragedy of Charlamagne became not just a story of personal turmoil but a spectacle, with friends, family, and fans alike drawn into a narrative of loyalty tested, trust broken, and emotions pushed to their limits. And through it all, Charlamagne remained at the center, caught between defending his choices, protecting those he loved, and facing the reality that some relationships might never recover. The world watched, captivated, as every twist and turn unfolded, each moment more shocking than the last, and the question loomed large. How far could he go to reclaim what had been lost, and what would be the ultimate cost of the secrets, lies, and betrayals that had now engulfed his life entirely? The night ended, but the storm was far from over, leaving Charlemagne's fate hanging in the balance, a relentless tale of suspense, heartbreak, and drama that showed no signs of resolution. The following days were a whirlwind of chaos and heartbreak. Charlamagne barely slept, his mind racing as he tried to navigate the fallout from the revelations that had shaken his world to its core. Every call, every message, every social media notification felt like another test of his endurance. Friends who once promised loyalty now hesitated to speak with him, their words laced with judgment and doubt. The family remained fractured, old wounds gaping wider with every confrontation, and the tension between siblings escalated to moments of pure, raw hostility. "You think you can just explain everything away?" one of them shouted during a heated argument, eyes blazing. Charlamagne attempted to intervene, to mediate, but the emotional stakes were so high that even his most heartfelt words seemed to bounce off walls of anger and disappointment. The public had not let up either. Fans dissected every post, every comment, every hint of drama, turning Charlemagne's personal crisis into a spectacle for the world. The pressure was unrelenting, magnifying every misstep, every hesitation, and every tear. Then came a dramatic twist that no one had anticipated. An unexpected visitor arrived, someone from Charlemagne's past with knowledge of secrets that had long been buried. The visitor's revelations added layers of complexity to an already tangled web, casting doubt on loyalties and motives that everyone had taken for granted. Arguments erupted, accusations flew, and the emotional intensity reached new heights. The family was left divided as old alliances crumbled and new ones formed, each shift creating ripples of uncertainty and suspicion. In a private confrontation, Charlamagne faced one of his closest friends, a person who had once been like a sibling. The conversation was tense, voices low but sharp, each word carrying the weight of years of trust and betrayal. "I thought I knew you," the friend said, their tone a mixture of hurt and anger. "But maybe I never really did." Charlamagne tried to explain, to clarify, but the explanations seemed inadequate against the emotional gravity of the accusations. Meanwhile, the public spectacle grew more intense. Fan communities, online forums, and social media threads buzzed with speculation, theories, and heated debates. Supporters rallied, defending him fiercely, while detractors dissected every detail to paint him as a manipulator and deceiver. The drama intensified when yet another twist emerged. A family member, previously silent, revealed a private conversation that contradicted Charlamagne's statements, throwing the narrative into further chaos. The room filled with gasps, accusations, and disbelief as everyone processed the new information. Emotions ran high, tears flowed, and tempers flared, creating an atmosphere thick with tension and uncertainty. Charlamagne found himself struggling to maintain composure, attempting to repair fractured relationships while navigating the constant barrage of new revelations and confrontations. Even moments of reconciliation were fragile, easily threatened by lingering mistrust and unresolved grievances. As the days passed, the intensity of the drama showed no signs of waning. Every interaction seemed to carry the potential to ignite another emotional explosion, every conversation a minefield of accusations, explanations, and hidden motives. Friends and family were caught in a whirlwind of loyalty, betrayal, and emotional turmoil, each step forward met with hesitation and fear. Charlamagne's public image suffered alongside his personal relationships, as fans and observers scrutinized every action, every word, and every gesture for signs of guilt, sincerity, or deception. Yet amid the chaos, there were moments of vulnerability and humanity. Charlamagne's attempts to apologize, to clarify intentions, and to bridge divides revealed a depth of emotion that was undeniable, even to those who had been most critical. These fleeting moments offered glimpses of hope, suggesting that despite the intensity of the drama, there was still a possibility for understanding, reconciliation, and repair. However, the fragile hope was constantly threatened by new revelations, accusations, and conflicts, each adding layers of complexity and tension. Just when it seemed that some semblance of calm might return, a shocking disclosure emerged from a long-hidden source, revealing motivations, secrets, and alliances that no one had anticipated. The impact was immediate, reigniting arguments, deepening divides, and forcing Charlamagne to confront consequences that extended far beyond his immediate circle. The emotional stakes were higher than ever, as every relationship, every loyalty, and every secret was tested to the extreme. The saga continued to unfold, with fans captivated by every twist and turn, friends and family struggling to navigate the maze of emotion and betrayal, and Charlamagne caught in the eye of a storm that showed no signs of abating. Each day brought new challenges, new confrontations, and new revelations, ensuring that the tragic fate of Charlamagne remained an ever-escalating drama that left everyone, inside and outside the family, on edge, waiting for the next shocking moment that would redefine everything they thought they knew. The tension reached a breaking point when Charlamagne received an unexpected message that threatened to upend everything he thought he had salvaged. It was from someone he had trusted implicitly, a friend who had once been like a brother, now revealing details that no one had suspected. The contents were explosive, exposing secret conversations, hidden motives, and decisions that cast Charlamagne in a completely new light. The room erupted in chaos as the message was read aloud, voices overlapping, accusations flying, and tempers flaring to levels that seemed almost unbearable. "How could you do this?" one family member yelled, tears streaming down their face. Charlamagne, for the first time, looked genuinely shaken, the weight of the betrayals crashing down on him like a tidal wave. He tried to defend himself, explaining intentions, motivations, and the fear that had driven some of his actions, but the explanations barely scratched the surface of the anger and disappointment in the room. Friends and family were divided, some still standing by him, others turning their backs, unwilling to forgive what they now saw as a series of deliberate manipulations. Fans online had a field day, dissecting the new revelations, spinning theories, and amplifying the drama, creating a spectacle that seemed almost impossible to escape. Then came another twist, more shocking than the last. A family member revealed an old secret, something long buried, that tied Charlamagne's actions to past mistakes and betrayals no one had previously known about. The room fell silent for a moment, the weight of the revelation sinking in, before erupting once again into heated arguments, accusations, and tears. Charlamagne found himself in a precarious position, forced to navigate the intense emotional storm while trying to maintain some sense of control over the unraveling situation. Each attempt at reconciliation was met with skepticism, every apology dissected, every gesture questioned. The emotional roller coaster seemed endless, a cycle of hope and despair that left everyone drained and on edge. Amidst the chaos, there were fleeting moments of clarity, where Charlamagne and a few family members attempted to communicate openly, to find a path forward. These moments were fragile, however, easily threatened by lingering distrust, past grievances, and the constant influx of new revelations. One dramatic confrontation escalated to a point where long-suppressed anger and resentment exploded, leaving relationships strained to the breaking point. "I can't keep pretending this is okay," someone shouted, their voice trembling with emotion. Charlamagne tried to calm the situation, his pleas for understanding met with resistance and doubt. The saga grew more intense as additional friends and acquaintances stepped forward, each bringing their own perspective, secrets, and accusations, further complicating the already tangled web of drama. Fans watched in fascination, dissecting each new development, while Charlamagne struggled to reconcile the multiple layers of conflict, loyalty, and betrayal. Just when it seemed that the storm might finally begin to settle, a shocking revelation from the past resurfaced, one that had the power to completely redefine the narrative. Emotions ran high as the details emerged, tempers flared, and alliances shifted once again. Charlamagne faced an impossible choice: continue to defend himself against mounting accusations or attempt to rebuild trust in an environment increasingly hostile and unpredictable. The family, friends, and even fans were drawn into a whirlwind of speculation, judgment, and emotional intensity, with each passing hour magnifying the stakes and the drama. Every word spoken, every action taken carried immense weight, capable of either mending fractured relationships or deepening the divides that threatened to destroy them. Charlemagne's once stable world now teetered on the edge of collapse, the culmination of secrets, lies, and betrayals creating a maelstrom of personal and public scrutiny that showed no signs of abating. The tragic fate that had begun with whispers and suspicion had escalated into a full-blown crisis, leaving everyone, inside and outside the family, gripped by the suspense of what might come next. The tension, the heartbreak, and the relentless twists ensured that the story of Charlemagne's struggles would continue to captivate, shock, and intrigue, leaving a trail of unanswered questions, emotional turmoil, and the ever-present question of whether redemption was even possible. The storm was far from over, and the world watched, captivated, as every new revelation threatened to redefine the legacy of Charlamagne, a man caught in the eye of a drama that refused to end. As the saga of Charlemagne's life continued to unravel, the tension showed no signs of easing. Every secret revealed, every confrontation, every tear shed seemed to pull him deeper into a vortex of emotional turmoil. Friends who once stood by him questioned their loyalty, family members struggled to reconcile love with betrayal, and fans online dissected every interaction, every post, and every word, creating a spectacle that blurred the line between private pain and public drama. Charlamagne, exhausted and raw, found himself confronting not only the consequences of his actions but the unpredictability of human relationships. Just when it seemed the storm might subside, another unexpected revelation emerged, throwing alliances into chaos and reigniting old arguments that many had hoped were buried forever. Emotions ran high, tears flowed freely, and the room was filled with a tension so thick it seemed impossible to breathe. In these moments, Charlemagne's vulnerability was laid bare, a stark reminder that even those who appear strong and untouchable can be brought to their knees by betrayal, misunderstanding, and the harsh scrutiny of the world. Yet amidst the heartbreak and conflict, there were glimpses of resilience, moments where apologies were offered, hands reached out, and the fragile hope for reconciliation flickered. The story of Charlamagne is far from over. Fans continue to debate, speculate, and analyze, while the man at the center of it all faces the ongoing challenge of navigating a life transformed by secrets, conflicts, and the relentless gaze of the public eye. Every decision, every interaction, now carries the weight of history, and the path forward remains uncertain, filled with both risk and possibility. Will he manage to rebuild what was broken? Will loyalties be restored, or will betrayals leave permanent scars? The answers remain shrouded in suspense, keeping everyone watching, waiting, and wondering what will happen next. Now, it's your turn to join the conversation. What do you think about the shocking twists in Charlemagne's life? Who do you believe is telling the truth, and whose loyalties are really tested? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like this video if you're captivated by the drama, and subscribe to stay updated on every shocking development in this ongoing story. The saga is far from over, and you won't want to miss a single moment.